Yes, guys, welcome to Cardiff City World, presented by Ace Podcast Nation, by the fans, for the fans, Cardiff City content, 7 days a week. A little short one today as we go 5 things we learned from Cardiff City versus Stoke yesterday. Finally, some goals, finally 3 points. Is that the beginning of some momentum? Do we start to see some confidence return to the team? Let's talk about it, because I think, look, was it perfect? Absolutely not. Could it be better? Most definitely. But there's certainly some positives within there. Um, can we question some things tactically and lineup and substitutions, particularly? Yeah, probably. And we'll go through the list. I tried to keep it positive, but as I've said before, yes, we'll look for the positives always, but we also will be honest. We'll criticize if criticism is needed. We'll give honest opinions. Opinions are obviously subjective, so what I say you might disagree with. If you do disagree with it, tell me in the chat and tell me why. But most important thing was the 3 points, and I do think there was a lot of positives there. I thought Ruben Cole was excellent again. I thought Joe Rolls getting the ball to Colwill made a difference. I thought Phillips was excellent. I thought Gutas looked much more settled. I thought the keeper was pretty good. If having his distribution was a bit off, but his saves have kept us in the game. Carlin Grant has been really good. I think, to be honest with you, Carlin Grant is an interesting one. But we'll talk about it. Let's go 5 things. Number 1, Carlin Grant. Carlin Grant, that goal typified what I think we expected from Carlin Grant this year. Direct, good finish. And look, I don't think anyone could criticise Carlin Grant's effort and attitude and work rate towards the team of all season. I think his attitude and work rate has been excellent. I think what you can accuse him of is his final ball not always being great, or his decision making sometimes letting him down, or that final piece. But I think his effort and his work rate is excellent. Look, I've got to be honest. I put up a post yesterday which said that I still think that they should back the manager in the summer. They should keep him and they should back him. But as important as backing him, getting players in, will be getting players out. The right players out of that squad, whether it's for wages, for attitude, whatever. As it stands, Carlin Grant, there's no way he can stay at Cardiff City outside of this loan due to his wages. His wages are massive. However, if they can work something out with his wages to become more affordable and a reasonable fee, if he's not out of contract or whatever with West Brom, Carlin Grant is someone who I believe that they should keep. He's versatile. He can play a range of positions. He's quick, he's direct, and he's got a good attitude in terms of how he approaches the football and team and the rest of it. I don't by any means think he's perfect, but for me, his mentality and his personality is what we should be breeding into this side as we go forward and build under this manager. Or any manager, whoever we're building in, you've got to have a squad of players with the right mentality and the right attitude. He is one who I would keep. I thought he was excellent again. Very disappointed for him to go off injured, obviously. I thought we lacked a bit of attacking prowess once he went off, although same problem as we've had in recent games. As soon as Ruben Colwill goes off, we do seem to struggle creatively. However, I thought Carlin Grant was excellent. If they can work something out with his wages, I hope he stays, because I like his mentality. And if everybody in that squad had the same attitude and mentality that Carlin Grant has, I think we'd have a few extra points, to say the least. Number 2. Did the manager go too negative or too defensive too early? I thought he did. I thought, look, it's 2-1. It's a dangerous scoreline half-time. And I understand Carlin Grant went off injured, and he kind of rejigged it. Carlin Grant goes off and Wintle comes on. I thought that was a bit of a strange one. And I felt like it killed a bit of our creativity and a bit of our momentum. It's very problematic for me that not problematic. That's probably the wrong word. Like his go-to, his setup, everything which he goes to is defensive first, which isn't always a bad thing because you have to be defensively solid. You have to be all these things to win football matches. But 2-1 was such a dangerous score, and at the moment we are conceding too many shots. I'd be interested to know exactly what the stats were on shots. I'll bring them up now. But I do think I don't want to be massively like over the top critical with it because I don't think it was a massive. Well, yeah, no, it was a big thing. I thought the substitutions were strange. I thought the substitutions really disrupted how we played. And as I've said numerous times recently, the manager's got to learn as he's going. The manager's got to hold his hands up sometimes and say, I got that wrong. And I felt like, much like the Blackburn game, Stoke City were there for the taking. And maybe we would have been better off pushing more for that third goal to kill off the game rather than setting up super defensively and solid. But we got 3 points. It worked out in the end. Number 3, let me talk about strength in depth, which is something which Cardiff have not always had this season. You had Wilson Esperand start at left back, who I thought did a great job. Particularly, I think going forward, he offers a lot more than Collins. I think technically he just looks a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more technically sound on the ball than Collins maybe. But that's probably where he's come through the Manchester City Academy. They're all comfortable on the ball. They're all technically good. I worry about Wilson Esperand a little bit defensively. I think he could get caught out, but I don't mind that. Particularly if you've got Siopis in there and he seems to have found a bit of form, and Phillips and Gutierrez, you can cover that space in the transition if he does get caught up the pitch. I thought he was excellent, and I thought, look, I've been saying for a couple of weeks that Collins mentally, I think, needed a break. So I was not disappointed to see Wilson Esperand in there. But it's good to have good options, and not just the options at left back. Obviously, McGuinness will come back at some point. That gives more options. You've got NG, Romeo stepped up and played well recently. Siopis, Rawls is back. Would I have preferred to see Turnbull from the start alongside Siopis? I think I've been very clear about that. However, I wasn't devastated that Joe Rawls was back in the side because Joe Rawls, at the very least, he does offer that ability to play through the lines and get the ball to the players we want on the ball to create chances. So Joe Rawls, I was happy enough with him being in there. And it's that strength in depth, which we need desperately. My one worry with Rawls is his legs. And I do wonder if the amount of shots that we conceded. So they had 13 shots, Stoke City. There's far too many shots that you're allowing. And I wonder how many of them came from, like in those areas where if you've got a bit of a more mobile midfielder alongside Siopis, that maybe you can cut some of those chances out. Not that I'm blaming Rawls particularly, just that you need legs in there. And he hasn't got the legs, but technically excellent. His passing was excellent. And then the other intro, you've got the wide areas, but also the striker side of things is still a conversation which is it's gonna go on forever, isn't it? Because I don't think people particularly fancy Atete. He got a goal, good for him. I hope that builds a bit of confidence because I do think technically he's got some in there. He's shown he can do some quite impressive things skillfully and stuff he's got. But it's just it's the physical side and the attitude side which lets him down a little bit. Jeju still finding his feet. I haven't been massively impressed with him outside of his ability to hold the ball up under pressure. I don't think he's offered a bit. And yeah, like to be clear, I wasn't criticising Joe Rawls whatsoever. I thought he had a pretty good game. And I thought he was a massive part of Colwill and Grant being so good in that first hour. Because we had someone to get the ball to them. Shocking, I know. Number 4. I think we need to sort out the wide areas still. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do just feel like if Bowler was on the left, he would. Round pegs in round holes is massive, and I think what you're seeing now is where we're getting the ball to Ruben Colwill more. He's looking more and more dangerous. He's getting momentum, consistency. Grant the same. So if we can just twiddle, move a couple of things around, can we get that same consistency from Bowler? Because Bowler is direct, and he's scored some great goals, and I think if we could get him off the left, I think he can be really dangerous. I still would like to see Grant through the middle with Colwill close to him. I think that could work. But look, overall, I thought it was positive. I thought Phillips was excellent. And I thought Gutas really looked a lot more settled than he has done in the last couple of games. And that, with him, that might be getting used to this new keeper, Halverth. So I was just asked, Matt just asked thoughts on Halverth. Some real decent saves. Distribution needs work for me. Too many kicks straight into stuff. Yeah. Look, first and foremost, the goalkeeper's job is to keep the ball out of the net. And I think the keeper kept us in the game. I thought he made some great saves. Distribution-wise, yeah, it was poor. Worse than I remember him being at Luton and worse than I've seen him recently. I thought it was hopefully just an off day, but I thought, I just think it was poor, the distribution. My thing with Bowler is, as I've said a few times, I think his attitude has been stinking at certain points in the season, which I haven't liked. However, he has shown that he has got quality. It's just how do you get that out of him the best way for the team, but also to get consistency out of him. There's a reason he's available on loan, because he's not consistent. And for me, it's only people might disagree. I just think that the constant cutting in restricts Ruben Colwill. And if we had a bowler on the left who's direct and goes past people and then puts the ball in the box, you can have Colwill, you can have your striker, whoever, arriving late. And I think that could be really, really beneficial to the team. On Ruben Colwill, I thought he was very, very good again. The biggest problem for him, and I see, some people have got opinions that he holds onto the ball too long or whatnot, but I think sometimes he holds onto the ball too long because the movement off him is so non-existent. So I would like to see an improvement with that movement off the ball, so we can get some people behind the fullbacks and behind the team. And everything is kind of congested a lot of the time, and they're trying to go short a lot. I think it's Alnwick with an injury is what it is, and it unfortunately is how Firth is probably going. I think, as I said at the time, it was pretty clear that for whatever reason, the manager seems to have worries about Alnwick, hence why Runnison, that debacle of putting him in the side when he shouldn't have been, caused all sorts of problems with the defence earlier in the season. And even when Halverth came in, you kind of felt like it was only a matter of time. As soon as Alnwick made a mistake, he was probably going to be out, and then he got injured anyway. So, it is what it is. And number 5 is a bit of a discussion point. That's why I've kind of gone through them a bit quicker today. So we got 5-10 minutes to have a little discussion amongst ourselves, right? So I put a post up yesterday, and maybe it's a bit hyperbolic, but I'm also looking for conversation, looking for people's views. And I said, build this side around Ruben Colwill. And I would say the majority agreed, but there was a couple of people who didn't. And someone compared him, I forget who it was, so I apologize, but someone compared him to Ramsey when Ramsey came through, and he said, he's nowhere near that level. Ramsey was, 17, and he had assists and goals and blah, blah. Well, there's a few things about that. Number one, Ramsey and Colwill played different positions in terms of when Ramsey came through, he was more of an out-and-out midfielder. Number two, Aaron Ramsey is a generational talent, and if it wasn't for injuries, would have been in the top 5 midfielders in Europe. Like, that's how good Aaron Ramsey could have been, is, whatever you want to say. But also, he came into a side, and Dave Jones, which was full of attacking quality footballers all around the pitch, a manager who let them express themselves, played attacking football. You put Ruben Colwill in a team like that, and Ruben Colwill would excel. But he's in a disjointed team, which doesn't win, like Dave Jones, though that side which Aaron Ramsey came into, won more games than they lost. A lot of the time. They played attacking football. They were given a lot of freedom to express themselves on the pitch. Cardiff at the moment are quite structured. They're quite restricted. Everyone's expected to track back and etc. etc. So it's not necessarily set up for Ruben Colwill to excel in terms of the personnel around him. But if we had the right personnel around him, even in this system, I feel that he could excel. He's young. And if you notice in the body change in him since Baloo's come in, he was already a big boy, but now he is absolutely flipping jacked. And he's working hard. The Carlin Grant's goal comes from Colwill refusing to give up on the ball. He wins the ball back, kicks it off the floor to get Grant, and Grant goes on and scores. Ruben Colwill, right? If Cardiff let Ruben Colwill go, there will be numerous clubs looking to snap him up. In my opinion, he should be in the next Wales squad. That's how consistent and good he's been, in my opinion, this season. I've also gone back and watched him. I've gone back and watched extended highlights and one or two full games, and just watched him and no one else. And as I've mentioned before, with my son, he watches him on his own as well. And some of the little things he does are so clever. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, his teammates haven't had the vision or the capability to find him, which is another, as a problem we've discussed before. Like, you think back to that team which Ramsey came into, your Stephen McPhails, your Peter Whitnams, all these guys who are just exceptional footballers, but also exceptional vision on the pitch to know where their teammates are, constantly scanning around the pitch. So when they receive the ball, they know Ruben Colwill's in a pocket of space, but blah, blah, blah. We don't have loads of those players. We have one or two. Rawls is capable of it, but probably is losing a bit of his legs. Turnbull is capable of it, isn't getting the opportunity at the moment. Siopis' job is slightly different. And I just think Ruben Colwill potentially can be a superstar for Cardiff and for Wales if he's given the chances to excel, because he often gets rotated. I think hopefully we've seen the end of that. And I just believe that the way I look at it is, if they let him go now, teams would snap him up. Would you have been able to say that at the start of the season? I don't think so. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Because if you remember at the start of the season, I said Ruben Colwill either needs to be the backup for Ramsey and play when Ramsey doesn't, or he needs to go on loan because he needs to play. And he's played. And I think early in the season, when he was just in the EFL Cup, he did everything he could. He was getting assists and goals, and he couldn't have done any more with his cameo time. Then he came into the side, he'd play well, and then he was rotated. And now he's getting a bit of momentum. And he's the only player who looks like creating anything. He's the one that links everything up. And when he goes off, Cardiff City look worse. So to me, it's a no-brainer for me. So we'll look at some of the comments. Reece says, did notice a few times they doubled up on Ruben yesterday. And you just thought if Bowler hugged the touchline and went a bit further forward, he'd be free if Ruben could get the ball to him. Louise says, the more Cardiff City content, the better. Oh, I've got some stuff to tell you in a minute about that. Got some incredible stuff coming this week. What else have we got? It's a tough one. He seems comfortable on the ball. Don't think he has that killer pass that someone like Rambo or McPhail had, and he's struggling to do 90 minutes. Be interesting to see him with better players. It'd be interesting to see him with wingers who stay wide and a striker who runs in behind, because so often he gets and he's running at the defence and he just wants a striker to do a little diagonal run so he can play a little reverse ball, and it just doesn't come. Everyone goes short, and it's very frustrating. Two big derbies coming up. Yeah, absolutely. Matthew says, do you think Gutas looks stronger? Sorry. Yeah, I thought he absolutely, I mentioned earlier, I thought he did. I thought Gutas looked more like the Gutas we've kind of become used to yesterday, because he had a couple of games which were, he just didn't look himself. He made rash tackle, rash fouls. There was the one game he was lucky to stay on the pitch, and just couldn't work out what he was doing. Could have been a couple of things, new keeper, getting settled to that, new centre-back pairing after being with McGuinness all season. And I think Phillips deserves a bit of a shout. He's been very good on the ball, good defensively. Unfortunately, he's never going to sign. He's on about 65 grand a week, so he's not realistically he's going to come. There's no way we're playing 65 grand a week. It just won't happen. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Turnbull. I don't know why he's not getting that opportunity. I would love to see him play alongside Siopis, but it'll be very interesting to see who he goes with in the next game, because I thought Rawls did really well, but also Colwill did really well, Grant did really well, but you've got to get Turnbull in there. He's a quality player. And he needs to play to get his match fitness up. Matthew says, do you think a bigger team would come in for Colwill? I just hope he can stay with us for another few years. I think if we put him up for sale, say, that teams would come and get him straight away. Because I think if you're quite a progressive, attacking, creative manager or whatever, like someone who likes to play attacking football and let players really express themselves and maybe a bit fluid on the ball, like, he would be so good. So I think, I think teams would snap him up. I think he'll stay. He seems to be enjoying his football. He's a local lad. His brother's coming through as well. Hopefully we'll get a few years out of him. And hopefully in that few years, he'll keep improving, because by no means am I saying that Ruben Colwill is the finished article, or that he's Messi or something like this, or he's even on the level of Ramsey when Ramsey was here. What I'm saying is, he's young. When he's not on the pitch, we look worse. When he is on the pitch, he works hard. He links up play. He does well. He takes up good positions. Let's get him on the ball. But then when he gets the ball, let's move. We so much static, like we just stand still, and it's frustrating. If he had that movement off the ball, I really feel like he can kick on in terms of creating chances, scoring goals, etc. Reece says, agree with our side. Grant is on the wing making the runs. I just wish Tete thought of doing it. His positional and his movement are just off the ball, so far behind championship level. Yeah, Tete is a frustrating one, mate, because do you know what, with the Tete, whilst I agree with all the criticisms that you've been putting in over the last couple of weeks, he falls over, his body language, his work rate, his movement off the ball, his hold-up play. Like, I agree with it all, but he has got something special in him. Like, you remember those goals against Blackburn? They were exceptional goals, and he's got that in him. And I just think, the only thing I can think is that in training, he's doing that sort of stuff every day, and the manager just thinks it's a matter of time before it clicks for him. That's the only reason I can see why he would start above Jesus or even Mate or even, Grant through the middle, which we've all been calling for. It's very, very strange. I hope he comes good, Atete. I do think there's something there, but I also think he would benefit so much from going to like a League One or League Two side, playing week in, week out, getting battered, strengthening himself up where he doesn't get any decisions, and he's just got to get up and get kicked and keep getting up and get kicked, but still want a ball, still working hard. And I think he would benefit so much from that. And I think I think there's a player there, but he's not there now. And I think the championship is too big for him at the moment. Louise says Turnbull's got great speed. He's just developing. Watch him in the derbies. Yeah, I just wish. I don't know. Let's talk about this next game. Obviously, we'll have a preview on the channel because the next 3 games are very, very difficult for Cardiff City. They're 3 difficult games, and it's kind of like on paper, I look at it and I think, like this is going to be super difficult to get anything from anything. But wins breed confidence. 4 points from the last 2 games will breed a bit of confidence. I haven't even talked about Tanner. Like, he must have upset someone because he just doesn't seem to be able to get a look in. I did get told though that even though Ramsey is injured, he's right around the squad, and I also got told by someone that he's working closely with Ruben Colwill almost on a daily basis. Don't know if it's true, it's secondhand information, but it was good to hear that he's kind of in and around the squad because I think that's important. Bristol City, Saturday lunchtime, massive game. And like, just before I really think about it and go into the preview and the analysis side of it and really dig deep into what I would do, how would you guys set up away from home against Bristol in that derby? Because I think Bristol are very up and down side anyway. Some weeks they look incredible, some weeks they don't. They had 2 wins, 2 losses the last 4 games. It's difficult. Because like I would, if it was home, I'm going Esperan Wilson at left back. I just think defensively, maybe away from home, you need that bit more solidity, which Collins maybe gives you. But then Collins has switched off and made errors, which have cost us away from home. So maybe I'd go with Wilson, Esperan. Obviously, NG and the other 2 pick themselves. Siopis has been back to form, looking great. Siopis already is looking good. I'm going to think... So who else could I... Siopis starts. And then, to me, the choice is Turnbull or Rolls. I think to the manager is Wintle, Rolls, Turnbull. And I think that Bullet will go with Wintle. Away from home, Bristol, I think he'll go with Wintle, and I think he'll go with Siopis. But I also think there's a very, very slight chance that he goes Siopis, Turnbull, Rolls. I hope he doesn't, but I got a feeling he might. Hopefully Grant is fit. I'm a little bit out of the loop in terms of the injury, so I don't know what his injury was, if anyone knows. Hopefully Carl Grant is fit. I think that would be massive. If Grant's fit, play him through the middle, try and hit him on the break. Simple. Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd play Collins at left back. I'd play Wilson Esperan at the left wing to give you like double the protection. I'd have Colwell in the 10. I'd have Grant through the middle and try and hit them on the break. I'd probably go with Turnbull from the start and then bring Rolls on when Turnbull tires. So I'd go Siopis, Turnbull, Wilson Esperan, Colwell. Right hand side we'll discuss in a minute. And then I'd go Grant through the middle, and I'd really try and win the ball on the halfway line and get in behind quick and sharp and really catch him on the break. Matt says thoughts on Mayte when he come on, mate. Like, when Mayte come, I was excited because he always seems to score against us. However, I'm kind of waiting to see it. I don't see it. I know some players like him I know some of you guys like him in the wide areas. I preferred him when he was through the middle. I thought his link-up play was really good. It's just his finishing is quite poor. But, yeah, I'm still waiting a bit for Mayte. I thought he was all right. He looked a little bit rusty maybe, but he takes up good positions. It just doesn't seem to be clicking for him. And I've seen him play better against us. I'm waiting for those performances. Like, he takes up good positions. He does work hard, and he's got a decent touch, and he takes up those like little positions out wide or wherever. And then it's that final ball or the decision making, which I'm not massively impressed with. I've been very disappointed with Jeju so far. Like, Reese has just said the same. Like, when he came on for his first game in the substitute, one of the things I'd really looked forward to and seen when I'd looked at him before when he signed was he was really good at receiving the ball under pressure. And when he came on the first game as a sub, he did it. And he was like two defenders holding him off, held it up, turned, and I think he got like a shot off and sort of scuffed the shot or whatever. But I thought, oh, that's got a bit of potential. But I haven't really seen that as much as I thought I would. Ultimately, I think we'd be better off setting up solid and trying to hit Bristol in the transitions when we win the ball back, when we press, and kind of hit them on the break a little bit. I think there's some areas in that Bristol side you can target with pace. If Colwill takes up little pockets of space and you have Esbrand and you have Grant moving and getting in behind, the defence has got a choice then. They track the runners and back off, which creates space for Ruben Colwill to drive into, or they go to Colwill and he plays a little ball through and they're through. So, but you can't have it if you haven't got a movement off the ball. It's frustrating. Right, just to kind of wrap up, this week we got all sorts of stuff on Cardiff City World, starting with lunchtime tomorrow is the first episode of the history of Cardiff City with the club's official historian, Terry Phillips, former Wales Online journalist, now the club's official historian. So the first episode of that is at 12 o'clock tomorrow lunchtime. Got the Cardiff City phone in tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Then we've also got Katie's new vlog, Everywhere We Go, new episode of that. We've also got a new episode called View from the Chair with Martin Davis, which includes an interview with the current member of the playing squad, which is really cool. And we got podcasts galore. The Flower Hour will be coming soon, and we'll see. Flower Hour's on every Saturday. I think we're going to try and work something out maybe for midweek, but I don't know yet. I got to work out the schedule because we've got a lot of stuff coming. A lot more people are wanting to get involved and stuff like that. So I have to have a big board with the days and schedules and stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff coming, including an interview with the current playing squad. Also going to be recording an interview about the current state of Cardiff with a former player this week. I'm also recording a podcast with a former Cardiff City captain on Wednesday. So there is so much coming. It's been a pleasure. I can answer that question just because it's funny. Matthew says, what do you think? Robinson has to do it to get another crack? In my opinion, and it's my opinion, I could be way off base, I don't believe Robinson will play for Cardiff City again. Take of that what you will. For a variety of reasons. One of the biggest being him and the manager do not see eye to eye. He's on massive wages. He's currently injured. And well, as you all know, like you watch my shows regular, like I called him and Bowler and a couple of others out for their attitude, and he hasn't been in the squad since we strengthened. Is he injured? Is he not? I don't know. I don't think he plays again for the club. I think he's sold in the summer. It's my opinion. Could be wrong. Any update on regarding Mehmet Darwin's coming on? I'm still working on that, mate. But as you know, he normally comes on once a year, and I'm working on it. But he's a busy man. I'm a busy man. Takes time. Been a pleasure, guys. Please make sure you check out Terry Phillips' new show tomorrow, new video series tomorrow at midday. It's only they're only short videos, sort of between 5-10 minutes. It's on the history of the club. He's the club's official historian, and it's going to be just incredible. So we've got all sorts of video content, live content. Every day there's something. Every day. So you've got the phone in live tomorrow, but you've also got some video content. Tuesday you'll have some video content and Super Kevin scripted. Then Wednesday you'll have a live podcast in the night, but you'll also probably have some sort of video content during the day. So please do just spread the word. We're picking up subscribers each day, so it's organically growing. It's getting there, and it's going. What's that say there? I think it's harsh. A few others are doing the defensive cover, but don't get called out. What's that in relation to, mate? I don't know, Rich. I don't know where you. I've lost track of where you were talking. Then I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're talking to someone else in the comments. So I'll give you 30 seconds to reply quickly. But yeah, obviously, Robinson. Yeah, no, look. Robinson and the manager fell out way back at the start of the season. Then he got called out. Then he seemed to get a bit of a chance. Then I think there was another something. He's picked up a couple of injuries. He's on massive wages. I think others have kind of done better and probably had a better attitude. I think once you fall out with the manager a couple of times, it's very difficult. I think if they could have got rid of him in January, they probably would have. Yeah, mate. I saw someone saying on social media that, Ugbo's gone. It must be us because he's scoring goals for Sheffield Wednesday. If you remember at the start of the season, mate, I said Ugbo has got a great knack when you play him through the middle of being just in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, it's his all-round play, which is pretty poor. His movement is on the ball. Everything else is poor, but he's just got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. And I look, don't get me wrong. I think all managers at all levels will have their favourites and their players who they notice when they're not doing stuff more, whereas other players kind of get away with it. But I think, and from what I've heard and been told as well, there's definitely a bit of a breakdown between the two of them. And he's on massive wages, so the club are going to want to move players out in the summer to get players back in. And let's have a look. If you look at the bench from the Stoke game, right? So let me ask you this, Reece. On Saturday, would you rather have seen the bench that we had? So would you have rather had Colwill Jr. and Ashford on the bench, or would you rather have seen Robinson in there? I mean, I'm interested. I'm genuinely interested because to me, I would rather see Colwill Jr. and Turnbull on there. However, if Robinson's on the bench, is the manager more likely to use him because of his experience and age and he's played at this level, blah, blah, blah. So, whilst I, as a Cardiff fan, would rather see those two youngsters on the bench because they're so highly rated, but I'd actually like to see him get some time. I think I said to Matt on Saturday, when, Stoke were really pushing, when he brought Jeju on, I think it was, about 75 minutes, I would have put Ashford up front to try and hit him on the break. Mate, 100%, right? If Ryan Wintle plays at number 10, then I think that's a massive issue. Mate, I don't even think Ryan Wintle should be in the starting 11. He should be on the bench. And he wouldn't even be one of my first choices to come on. Nothing against him. I just think there's better players, or there's players in the squad who are better for the team, should I say. My number 10 would be Colwill if Ramsey's out. And then after that, I would still play... Who would I play there? I'd play Grant there. I'd play Tanner there. I'd play I'd rather see one of the youngsters come on, like Ashford, and play Ashford off Jeju or Atete or Mate, and have like an experience, like a Mate who's experienced centre forward, and then have an Ashford off him who's got that pace to try and hit teams on a break. Look, it's only my opinion, and maybe like I'm influenced by certain things I've heard about him, but and I'm not saying like he shouldn't. I'm not saying he shouldn't play for the club again. I'm saying I don't think he will, if that makes sense. Right. Psyopis has been superb last couple of games, by the way. Shout out to him. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Spread the word. Check out Terry Phillips' show tomorrow. Check out the Cardiff City phone-in. And also don't forget the to support the Disabled Supporters Association by ordering your top quality pennant, individually packaged, available from the Disability Supporters Association via email, Martin Davis, or via the Premier Bluebirds Facebook group. Top quality stuff. Support them, something which is close to my heart, who obviously being disabled myself, so it is what it is. Guys, it's been a pleasure. See you tomorrow. Take care.